Hello students, this is Mrs. K. Today we're doing our lesson on the reading comprehension strategy of inferring. So inferring is a really important reading strategy. It's so important that I would almost say that you're not really reading unless you're doing inferring. Because inferring means that you're really thinking about what something means. You're thinking about things more than what the author is actually telling you. So you're really processing the things that you're reading when you're using the reading comprehension strategy of inferring. So anytime that you're doing some reading, you're going to have to be thinking about so much more than what the actual words are that are on the page. So reading is not just sounding out words and hearing them and letting that happen. Reading is thinking deeply about the meaning of the words, the meaning of the sentences, the meaning of the paragraphs, and what it all means all put together. So inside your Learning Materials folder, you should be able to find in the Reading Comprehension Strategies section, you should be able to find this page, which is a bit of a poster about inferring. I want you to go into your folder and find that page. You need that page because today we're reading what this says and we're thinking about it. We're going to be really thinking about the meaning of all of the words on this page, and that's one of the ways that we will practice inferring. So what is inferring? Let's read what it says here. It says inferring is being able to read between the lines. So that doesn't mean literally that there's actual words in between these lines of writing, does it? It's reading between the lines. That's a saying that we use. And that means that we're understanding so much more than the actual words that are being said. Okay, inferring is being able to read between the lines when the author implies something but doesn't actually state it. So good authors, good writers will often imply things without actually stating it. And so we learn that in our writing lessons, don't we? We learn how to show the reader something without actually saying it, because it gets a bit boring if somebody tells you every little detail. It's much more interesting if they let us realize that something must be happening instead of saying it all out. And so it's a really important skill to be able to do that when you're a writer, and it's a really important skill to be able to do that when you're a reader, to be able to work out what the author means by the things that they're saying, what else you can tell about the story or about the thing that they're talking about without actually being told every little thing. Okay, you need to use the clues in the text and your own prior knowledge to help you understand. So the things that you already know, the things that you've experienced, and the little hints or the clues that the author gives you. Remember, we always talk about that when you're a reader, it's like being a detective. You're being a reading detective, a word detective. You're understanding so much more than what the author is actually telling you. So you have to really use your thinking to be able to do great reading. So let's have a look at the example here that we have on this page. We can see the picture of the girl here, and here the girl is thinking, and she's thinking about the things that the author is saying, and then she's thinking even more, using the things that she already knows, using her own good thinking skills in order to come up with some more understanding of what's happening. So let's read the words. The girl is thinking, because this is what she's reading in the book. Sarah's mouth was dry. That's what it says in her book. Sarah's mouth was dry and she had a big knot in her stomach. She wished today was already over. Sarah's mouth was dry and she had a big knot in her stomach. Does that mean somebody took her stomach and tied it in a big knot like that? Her mouth was dry. Does that mean somebody put a piece of cloth in there and soaked up all the water inside her mouth? No, it doesn't mean that at all, does it? We know that her mouth's not actually dry. We know that she doesn't actually have a big knot in her stomach. Nobody tied her up in a knot. No, it doesn't actually mean that. What does it mean? It says she wished today was already over. So I'm reading that first bit. I'm just going to read it through again so that we can think about what does it mean. Sarah's mouth was dry and she had a big knot in her stomach. She wished today was already over. So this is a girl, she's reading that in the book, and now this is what this girl is thinking. She's thinking about so much more. She's using this to help her understand it. In her own thinking, it's not in the book, just in her own thinking, it says, I think that Sarah sounds really nervous about giving her speech to the whole school. So this girl has read the words that Sarah's mouth was dry, that there was a big knot in her stomach, that she wished today was already over. She's reading all those words and she's thinking, Sarah's very nervous about giving a big speech at the school. So she's understood this means that Sarah's really nervous. So that's what inferring means. Do you think you do that when you're doing your reading? Do you think that you use the words to help you understand so much more? That when you are told, and the man went really red in the face and he clenched his fists together, do you then understand that means the man's angry? What about if you heard something like this? The boy ran and quickly got behind the cupboard and pulled his feet in really tight and tried to sit as still and quiet as he could. Would you understand that the boy is hiding from somebody? So we've got to read the words that are in our books, the words that are in anything that we're reading, and we've got to understand so much more. So you can't just read like a robot but turn off your brain. When you're reading, you've got to have your brain working and you've got to be thinking. You need to be using all of the reading strategies that we've been learning about all year long. So you need to do things like stopping and thinking. You need to do things like realizing when you've lost what's happening a little bit, when your thinking isn't working, and stop and reread that little bit again. You've got to think about experiences that you've had that are similar, that this is something that you've heard before. You've got to use our questioning strategy where you ask questions of yourself and then think about those. Reading is not just processing words. Reading is thinking about the things that we're reading, isn't it? That's really, really important. Okay, that's the end of our lesson today. That's just our introduction to inferring. Very soon we'll go ahead and we'll use some of our other pages in your learning materials and we'll do some practice to apply our new skill of reading. So we might use our character inference chart, for instance, and see how we can do a better job of our reading, get more understanding of the things that we're reading. Okay, so the skill this week is inferring. Thanks for coming along. See you soon.